Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mama Sandy. Today we were going to talk about what to consider when buying orchids. I think a lot of you considered to buy orchids, but unfortunately you guys are afraid to buy it, or at least try to take care of it, because there's so many reasons. Could be one of it, you're afraid to kill one, but don't worry, because I kill a lot of orchids too. For myself, I learned how to take care of orchids by trial and error. I did a lot of research, a lot of readings on my own. I look into the books and textbooks and people who actually takes care of a lot of orchids. So many centuries ago, I'll say maybe 200, 300 years ago, a lot of royalty back in United Kingdom and some part of Europe wanted to have orchids, and having orchids in their home signifies their wealth. They have some what you call hot houses or some greenhouses back in the day. The more orchids you have, the better, because you're considered as powerful and rich. So just like, right nowadays it's just like collecting cars. But in order for them to have those orchids, they have to pay a lot of money to poachers and people who actually called the explorer, who hunts orchids from either some part of Asia or South America. Remember now, orchids grow in temperate and tropical region. So probably like in the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and all other parts of the world which are really warm. So orchids is like a really expensive commodity back in the day. Why? Why do you think it is? Because they're so pretty, they're so beautiful. And unfortunately, guys, nowadays the orchids that you see in the stores or in gardens right now, like in the garden store, they're not really like the original orchids that you find like back in the day, 200 to 300 years ago. Most of the orchids nowadays are hybrids, meaning they're like two types of orchids breed or cultured together in order for them to form certain beautiful bright color or some what you call a better quality orchids. And unfortunately, what happens with that is you lose that pretty original characteristic of an orchids. And also some orchids, by the way, has its own smell. It has its own fragrance that you couldn't imagine. And I remember growing up, and we had like orchids that has still their own original scent. Or back in the day, it was like almost like, I always see like Palinopsis orchids, and it's grown at home, and they're not really that fragrant, but they're pretty much grown to at least put up with the weather and fight off the insects and all that. But that's the only drawback that we have right now with the orchids that you see in the stores and garden centers. They don't have that distinct original smell. What are the points to remember when buying orchids? I would consider, first up, you have to make a decision whether do you really want to have orchids in your house. I understand you adore it, but it requires minimum maintenance. But you have to consider the type of orchids that grow in your area, especially if you live in a cooler condition. You need to consider the all year round temperature, whether you have the four season. I would say consider the weather where you at, because most orchids in general, they like to thrive in warmer area. Just like my friend here, the Phalaenopsis. I got it at Home Depot. This is one of them. They're pretty common in the tropics, and they're very pretty. and they're very easy to take care of. A lot of you will probably think, oh, I would kill it, you know, I don't have a green thumb. But you know what, I don't have a green thumb either. I have a sore thumb, a really hardworking thumb. But anyway, this type of orchids, it's pretty common in tropical area. They have this broad leaf, and all you need to do is you just have to water it when it's dry. So when you see this bottom here, they grow it in the rock and some old wood chips. So I hope you can see that right over there. So another pointers is consider what type of orchids is common in your area. Like in my area, I was lucky enough to have several types of orchids. One of them are cattleyas. Cattleyas are very one of the still is one of the orchids that has this original scent, and to tell you honestly, they smells heavenly when they're in bloom. And also I would consider getting Vanda orchids. Just to let you know, Vanda orchids has a lot of varieties, by the way. Points to consider is Vanda, they like to hang. The roots likes to hang, and they're not really finicky. All you need to do is just they need to be in front of the sun, early sun in the morning. I would recommend to keep them on half and half shady area in your house, and I would say avoid direct sunlight during the daytime, the midday, because it's gonna burn your orchid's leaves. Okay, for those people who question Waling Waling and Vanda, the only difference is Waling Waling in the Philippines, I think they consider it now as a national flower of the Philippines. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I still love sampaguita as your national flower. I love the scent of sampaguita. Waling Waling is actually part of Vandaceous family. It's called Vanda Iwante Sanderiana. So look it up in the internet for those people who are still confused. I'm not confused about it, but also there's two type. Vanda Sanderiana alba, which is the white Vanda with the green lower petal color. I'm sorry, I'm confusing you. I don't have it at hand right now, but if you have it, you are very lucky, because I'm trying to get my hands to those types of Vandas or Waling Walings in the Philippines, but I couldn't even get it here. Another tip, or when buying orchids, decide if you could really take care of. All you need is like an area in your house that is a little bit warmer, as long as it's not like below 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're good to go. And then you water it when you need it. You don't plant your orchids in the soil, so you don't need any soil media. You don't need no potting soil or potting mix. You just need to put it in either wood chips, lava rock, or anything that's non-soil. No soil, please, for your orchids. Very important tips when buying orchids. When buying orchids, test out one orchids. Pick and choose the kind of orchids that you like, and make sure you know how to take care of it, because it's a responsibility. Orchids are very expensive. They're not really cheap, you guys. So if you really like it, consider buying one type of orchids only, and get to know your orchids before you buy it. It's just like getting to know a person, you know. It is very important to at least read a lot about orchids. The orchid story is really interesting when you look in the books, and when you look online regarding the hunt for that perfect orchids. And it's very interesting. If somebody would give me a gift, actually I would prefer orchids than getting a bouquet of roses or a dozen roses, because orchids is the best. So one of my favorites, like I've been telling you, are Vanda orchids. They have this really weird roots that hangs. I like everything that hangs. This is one of the orchids that I just got from Home Depot today. Unfortunately, it's drying out because they're short staff in Home Depot, and they don't really water their plants. Look like I want to volunteer there. And this is my old Vanda, and it has full bloom now. Look, that one. But I'm gonna go show you another one that I really like to have, and they're pretty. Now this type of orchids is called I couldn't even pronounce it. But I love these orchids because it resembles like a slipper, like a lady slipper. So let's take a quick recap on what to consider. First, you consider what type of orchids you wanna buy, and consider what weather you have in your area. Study the type of orchids that you want. Don't just buy any orchids. And watering, fertilizing, should make it into a schedule. Also, buy orchids that are, just buy one type of orchids. Buy the cheap one first. If you kill it, then you're not gonna feel bad because you killed it, because orchids are expensive. But anyway, if I forgot anything, please forgive me. If you have any question regarding orchids care, please let me know, then I can help you out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys will have a great day. Stay safe, stay home, wash your hands, and take care of yourself. Take care of one another. Aloha. This is Mama Sandy. Thank you so much. Bye.